Hello, everyone. I'm back. I tell you, that last live, if you did not see it, it was so good. And it just had my mind just racing. And I was really thinking about so much as it relates to the last video on limitations. So, this is kind of like a part two, but um, it's not, but just roll with me. And it's just so funny how life has presented itself to me over the last few weeks to where I'm able to really carry out and take action over on a lot of things that I'm talking about to you. So it just lets me know that this stuff is so relatable. These tools are relatable, and everything that I talk to you about is definitely realistic in nature. So we discussed co-parenting limitations last time, and I really want to go deeper in that because I was thinking to myself, how can we really understand these limitations more, and what can we do about them? And I want to remind you that limitations. Remember, I looked up the definition. And one of the definitions that I saw was lack of capacity. And so we're talking about lack of capacity as it relates to co parenting. And I guess if you think about it, it was so funny today. I thought about this today the lack of capacity. I have these toy trucks that I have at work. And I was trying to fit them in boxes that because we're moving at work. And for whatever reason, this particular truck would not go in the box. And I was like, why? I mean, I know this is the box it's supposed to go in, but it didn't have the capacity within that box to fit that truck in it. And guess what? I was using the wrong box. So when I finally realized, of course, I struggle with this probably because I don't give up. So I struggled with this truck to get in this particular box for now, mind you, it wasn't just a box, it was an actual, because I know y'all think to myself, I know it's not just a regular box you're trying to fit something in, but it was um, some type of styrofoam protecting that it was supposed to go in order to fit in the box. So just wanted to make sure you knew that. Because I don't want you to think to myself, they're trying to fit a truck into a box and she can't see that it can't fit. But yeah. So okay, moving ahead. So I was thinking, okay, this particular truck, it did not have the capacity to fit in that box. But once I realized that it was the wrong box, of course, it fit perfectly. The other one fit perfectly in that particular box. So I kind of want us to think about that as it relates to co-parenting. Um, I mean, the things that we try to do, we insist on doing, because I was insisting on putting that truck in that styrofoam container. Um, Sometimes we don't need to persist if we don't have the capacity to actually do it, especially when there is another option. In my case, it was another box and it fit perfectly. So I want you to think about that today as we are going through this discussion, and remember, all of this is for our kids. We are trying to be the best versions for ourselves, and we can't be everything. We can't be all things for our kids. Um, I think I mentioned last week how, I had this aha moment that I just couldn't be everything, which is crazy because I knew that I can't be everything. But um, we have to understand that we can't be everything. And even the things that we can do physically, mentally, whatever, that doesn't mean we have to do it. or we should do it. So, um, but I want you to know as well is because when two parents, when they really want to be there for their children, it makes it different. So when I'm talking about co-parenting, I'm talking about two parents who want to be there. I'm talking about um, even a single parent who's working towards healthy. There's certain um, things, tools, gems, strategies that I give you that'll help you in that area as well. Um, because it is all about us being the best version of ourselves and what is needed for our children. And I know sometimes you might ask, okay, how is it that Tiffany might know how I'm feeling about my particular situation? When I was thinking about this particular topic, I remembered, okay, I've been a single mother. I was a single mother at 19. Um, I was married and I was a part of a blended family. Um, and I am now divorced with children who I co-parent with, and I have an adult child. So I really, this spectrum of parenting as a whole, I have a lot of experience, a lot of lessons that I've learned throughout the years. And I'm just excited to be able to share all these experiences and all this insight that I've gained over the years, especially in this co-parenting space as I'm navigating through the journey with you. So um, it is so funny. I saw this video last week and I was like, you know what? This is going to be part of, what I talk about as well. And I was thinking, gosh, this is a really great example of what I want to discuss. Now, remember, mind you, this particular video, it has profanity. I know I have all types of people that listen and view these videos. Might be some kids that might, but I just want to give that disclaimer. This particular video, it does have some profanity and it does have some discriminatory language in it. So I just wanted to give you that information before I play it. But I want you to look at it, and I want you to also think about what's going on and have you been in that situation before? How do you think? Um, I'll just play it. One moment. Hopefully, it won't take too long.
Every time he go with you somewhere. What's going on?
It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Hold on. Oh,
Come on.
it's not a problem. Every time he come with me and I chastise him about something, he want to get in his feelings and shoot you a text message. Okay. He want to go back home.
All right. But the thing is, you run your house like a boot camp. That's why your other kids ain't happy there.
No,
now you
I run my house with structure and job with that, but that's why I run my house with. And when he get in his feelings, he want to come home because I chastise him.
Right. But he don't do that there. I do everything here. I clean his room. I do the dishes. I clean up. He don't do that. That's why he don't ever want to be there. He don't want to be at your house because you run that shit like a fucking boot camp,
man.
You
can't be serious. How you gonna raise a young man like that? He ain't gonna be able to know how to fend for himself. Cook, clean, mow the grass. He ain't gonna be able to do none of that shit.
He can do other stuff. He can do other stuff.
Who's teaching him?
I'm teaching him. How you? He still got to learn how to be compassionate towards others. and be nice to others.
Listen,
You're doing too much on him,
I'm
man.
not doing too much. You raising this boy to be too goddamn soft, man.
What you mean by soft?
Look, at the rate he gonna end up being a felon on the street, a fucking mama's boy don't nobody want, or you gonna end up being gay. One of the three.
Okay, I have a son that's gay.
I didn't raise him, but that's just my opinion.
So you saying I'm raising him, I'm turning him to be out to be gay?
That's not what I'm saying. See, you trying to change the whole narrative. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about me disciplining my son and you not being an interference. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, look though, that's not how I discipline though.
He could be
You
whatever.
too hard on.
He could be. He could be whatever he want to be. Let's get that straight.
Okay.
He can
But
be
you're
whatever he
too
wants.
hard on him. You're too hard on him.
I'm supposed to be hard on them. That's wrong with these kids.
Why
now.
you think your other kids don't want to come? You too hard on them, man. That's too much. Let them be a kid.
So I got to be the fall guy because I want to be hard on my kids to make sure they turn out right, better than I did.
Look,
It's-
come on,
that's
come on, baby, come on, get out the car.
Oh my gosh,
Come on.
man, that's the whole.
Come on.
Really,
On
son?
Come on, mama take care of you. I'll take you shopping later on, okay?
See what I'm talking about? That's the type of shit I'm talking about. That type shit.
Man, Jaquez, going on. We don't need that shit. Going on. Going on about your business, man. We don't need that.
Really?
Because the thing is this, at the end of the day, I take care of them. All I asked you to do was to step in and give them something.
That's
talking to.
That's all I'm
Just
doing.
talk
That's
to
my
him.
son, man. That's all I'm trying to do is
Just,
be there
just
for him and raise
talk
him
to
right.
him. You don't got to discipline and yell at
Listen,
him out.
I ain't had my father in my life, okay? So I know what it feels like, but I need to raise him and discipline him and show him the right way. Better than I did. You feel?
No, I don't agree with you on that part. I don't agree with you on that
You
part.
can't be serious bullshit now.
Man, just go on. Go. I'll take care of my son from here. We
I
don't need
want
you.
no, okay.
We don't need you. We good.
Hey, keep that same energy when you need some money now.
All right.
All right.
Make no sense.
Well, what did you think about that? I mean, that was a lot going on in that video, in that interaction. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the video? Are you team mom? Are you team dad? Have you been in that situation before? How can you see, or I should say, just what were your thoughts on what was going on there? And while you're commenting, I want you to think about how can these parents better assist their son and come to an agreement, because things did not end well in that conversation. I mean, it didn't go well the whole time, but the child didn't get to spend time with his father, and the father ended up leaving. The situation upset, and the mother ended up being upset because of what was going on as well. So, but I do have a few things that I observed that I think that could help these parents. And the first one I wanted to say, or I wanted to mention, was every parent has their unique approach to parenting. And it's all shaped by our upbringing, our past experiences, our values, our beliefs, and our personalities. But it's crucial for us to recognize and respect these differences, as they contribute to how we can really take care of our child. It allows our family dynamic to be diverse. You have a male perspective, you have a female perspective, you have a man's perspective, a woman's perspective in the situation. And in that video, I noticed that the dad was trying to, well, actually, both of them were talking about the things that they want, or they are trying to instill in the child. So both of them, wanted their child to succeed and grow up healthy and strong. they might have had different ways of doing it, but for the most part, I saw that both of the parents, they cared about their child. The only difference is that respect factor was not there on both sides. The next one I'll mention is complementary strengths. Each parent, they bring their strengths and weaknesses to the table. So by understanding and appreciating these differences, we as co-parents, we can leverage each other's strengths. And it really helps to provide a more balanced and comprehensive upbringing for our child. So take for instance, um, I know I use myself for example. Um, in the past, I've been better at organization in regards to keeping up with the kids' doctor's appointments and whatever it is that they need, so forth and so on. So I was able to bring that strength not only to the marriage, but to continue that in my co-parenting relationship. Um, my ex, on the other hand, he's he's better with enforcing things as it relates to the boys. Well, actually, both of us are pretty good with that. That's not a good example, but they tend to listen to him more. So since he's stronger in that area, I, defer to him on that. And, it has something to do also with the fact that they are boys. How many of us moms have boys that we are raising? Um, or I should say, we are raising men. So do we really know how to raise a man? We do the best that we can as women, but we've never been a man. We're not a man. So we don't necessarily know what it takes to be a man and to raise a man. So that's where we have to recognize and acknowledge and actually leverage these strengths that we have, so our children can be the best version of themselves. They can be healthy, and the fact that we're leveraging our strengths, it helps our children to get the best of both of us. Can you imagine that? Our children getting the best of both of us because we're leveraging our strengths. We're self-aware about, who is it that, well, I mean, what is it that we're good at? What is it that the other parent is good at? So we can communicate about that. And this really involves maturity. This co-parenting dynamic, healthy co-parenting, it's for grown folks. Putting aside our ego and putting control to the side in order to do what's best for our child. Now, the next one I want to mention is communication and compromise. So, as you know, effective communication is essential in co-parenting. It's essential in any relationship, not just our co-parenting relationship. And open and respectful communication is the cornerstone of the child first method. And without it, we can't effectively raise an emotionally healthy child. So discussing and understanding, each other's parenting styles, it can facilitate those open dialogues. It can lead to compromise. So both parents can actually accommodate one another. We can find common ground in establishing, those expectations. And it's going to definitely minimize conflict because we're both going to have a lane that we're operating in. I did not say it was going to get away. We were going to eliminate conflict because I mean we're human, so conflict's always going to come up, but we can minimize it. Okay. And the next one I want to talk about that I saw in that video is just the flexibility and adaptability. Um, I think a lot of times when our children can tend to try to play us against one another. And in the video, it in the beginning, I'm not sure if you were able to hear, but the son texts the mom. And apparently it was something that the dad was saying that he did not like. But it was probably something he needed to hear from his dad from a discipline standpoint. So I think the mom could have been a little bit more flexible. She could have adapted more in that situation. Um, so parenting is definitely an evolving journey, you know, and what works for one child or family, it might not work for the other. And as you know, I have two sons. You know, one's a teenager and the other one is knocking on the door this year. So I have two teenagers at the end of this year. So, you know, I'm at the time in my co-parenting journey where I know I have to lean on my ex a lot more because things are actually coming up. You know, they're asking me certain questions, and which they've always asked me questions, but I think it's more it's a lot more related to manhood now. And so I have to acknowledge, and I have acknowledged my limitations as a woman and as a mother. You know, my boys, they will need their dad more during this time of life, moving into manhood. So being open to trying new approaches and adapting to changing circumstances is definitely been crucial right now. Um, and as much as I want to always be there and be the source, you know, we tend to. I guess it's just that motherly thing that we have. We always want our kids to be close to us, and to really love on us and be with us all the time and tell us everything. But it's times that we do have to embrace um, the differences, or I should say, leverage the strengths of the other parent, um, and allow for that flexibility and adjusting to certain things that happen as the kids are getting older. And I want to say the last thing that I recognized in that video was really just not having a positive role model. They weren't really positively role modeling for their child. Um, they were showing the child that he can say or do something that would have them, well, I should say, he can say and do something in order for him to get his way, because it was something that was said or done that he did not like. And so all he knew that he could do is call his mama, and his mama was going to save him, versus, you know, him facing whatever it was that needed to be faced, correcting whatever that was that need to be corrected. And think about this as well. These are certain skills, that the skill that that father was trying to show his son at the time was probably things that he really needed, you know, at the older he got. I mean, how long will he be able to go to his mama, or should he be able to go to his mama about every single little thing? Um, I mean, this is going to eventually be a man, and he's going to need to be able to lead his own household. And there's certain things that he has to understand as a man. And I think some things that only, you know, a father can provide for a son. And I think that was one thing that he was trying to convey to her in the video as well, was, you know, the fact that he didn't have a father. It was almost like he was trying to appeal to her at that moment, but her lack of empathy at the time did not allow her to be. And that could be different reasons why, she felt the way she felt about the father doing this video. Who knows what the dynamic of their relationship was, but it didn't matter. You have to separate who that person was to you and who they are to the child. So in this case, the child's well-being needs to be prioritized. The child did not need to be spoiled. There's a time for that. The child probably needed to be disciplined at that time. And as long as there wasn't any abuse happening in regards to the child, it should have been supported by the mother. So that's my summary and my observations of that video. But please share your own experiences and perspectives in regards to the video, and let me know what type of challenges you've actually experienced when it comes to something even similar to that, or something within your own co-parenting relationship. Well, one more thing I wanted to talk about today is because the more I thought about limitations, the more I thought about parenting styles. And I know you've probably heard parenting styles because it refers to the approach or strategies that parents use to raise their children. So we all have different parenting styles, whether we know it or not. And there's 4 common recognized parenting styles. And we're gonna talk about these 4. And it was actually researched by this lady named Diana Brarand, and it was later expanded upon by McCovery and Martin. So I'm going to show you this particular chart just to give you a visual of these parenting styles. And I'm going to go through it really quickly just so you can see it. Okay, hopefully you can see that pretty good. I'll make it a little bit bigger. So it kind of gives you an idea of these 4 parenting styles. And I'll run through them real quick. And mind you, you might not be operating in one parenting style. You might be operating in multiple parenting styles based upon what is going on with your particular child, what age they are, um, where your child is in that moment. It might be so just think about that as well as I'm going through that. And I also want you to give yourself grace as I'm talking about these, because we don't always get it right. We're not perfect parents, but we strive to be the best that we can be. And this is what this is all about, just bringing awareness to where we are so we can be the best versions of ourselves. We can be the best parents we can be. And it also helps you to understand possibly where the other parent is as well. So the first of the 4 is authoritative. Now, this parent, they're both demanding and responsive. They set clear expectations and rules for their children, but also they show warm support and responsiveness to their needs. Now, these parents, they're firm, but they're fair, and they encourage independence while providing guidance and support. These parents, they are associated with positive outcomes in children, this particular parenting style. So, such as higher self-esteem. Most time when this particular parenting style is used, most kids have higher self-esteem. They have better academic performance, and lower levels of delinquency. So I would say that this one is our standard for parenting. Uh, and the next one is authoritarian parenting. Now, this one is highly demanding, but low in responsiveness. You can kind of see that on the chart, as well as we talk about these particular ones. And you can see the category of how those particular parents, or I should say parenting style is. Now, the authoritarian parent, they prioritize obedience and discipline. They often use strict rules and punishment to control their children's behavior. It's one of those, do as I say, not as I do. Um, Go over there, don't say anything, or don't speak unless you're spoken to. This is normally, I would say it falls into the authoritarian parent. So they also might have high expectations, but offer little um, in the way of emotional support or nurturing. And this style, it can lead to children who are obedient because they're most of the time you're threatening them most of the time to behave. But you can only imagine that some, depending on the child, they can rebel as well, depending on um, how strict the parent is. And the child also, they can struggle with low self-esteem, social competence, and decision-making skills because the parent is always telling them, what they need to do. They don't have a choice to make their own decisions. Now, I'm going to remind you again, if you find yourself in any of these, give yourself grace. If any of your parents were any of these, give them grace as well, because we only do what we know to do. Okay? We just do the best that we can with what we're given. Okay? So the third one is permissive parenting. Now, permissive parents, they're high in responsiveness, but low in demandingness. They are nurturing and indulgent, often avoiding confrontation and setting few rules or boundaries. The permissive parent, they may be more like friends than authority figures. They pretty much allow their kids, a considerable amount of freedom to make their own decisions without any true direction or guidelines. So while permissive parents, they can foster warmth and emotional closeness, it may be of the result in the children not having self-discipline because they're used to just doing whatever they want to do. They struggle with boundaries and they have difficulty coping with authority figures. Now, the last parenting style is the uninvolved parent. They're low in both demandingness and responsiveness. They are emotionally detached and disengaged from their children's lives. They provide little guidance and support or structure. The uninvolved parent, they may be neglectful, focusing on their own needs or interests rather than those of their children. They probably leave their children alone a lot. And a lot of times, I'm sure these parents, they have a lot going on themselves to where it's so much to where they cannot focus on their child because they're so, covered with their own problems and their own issues where they can't focus on their child. And this style, it can be serious negative consequences for the child. Any child that's left alone, they can really cause some problems. especially depending on the child. Remember, each child is going to be different. Each parent is going to be different. And also, um, I would say it's very fortunate if a child, has a parent like this and they do make it, and they do have some sense of health growing up. But as things that happen in our childhood, they a lot of things are left unresolved in adulthood that we have to go back and solve and resolve in our childhood. So normally these children, they have poor academic performance because I'm sure they're not getting any help at home. They have emotional problems, and they also have behavioral issues. So it's important to note that these parenting styles, they exist on a spectrum. And as I told you before, many of us, we can, exhibit a combination of traits from different parenting styles, depending on the situation and the needs of the children. So our goal is for us to be balanced so we can actually foster healthy development. And we can meet the needs of our children. All of our children are different, all of our children are unique. And sometimes it might take us really balancing these styles in order to assist our kids and being and becoming the best versions of ourselves. And I have to say, overall, understanding these different parenting styles, it really empowers us to navigate the limitations that we have more effectively. It really fosters a supportive co-parenting relationship because we're able to see how we are, what style that we have, and we're also able to look at the other parent as well to see where they are. And in turn, it really does prioritize the well-being and development of our child, because that's what it's all about. It's all about our child. It's all about us being um, the best for them. So they can grow up healthy and strong. That is definitely our goal. Well, that was a lot today, huh? I know I gave you a lot to think about, but I would definitely love to hear from you. Uh, I would love to hear how you've been able to um, really maneuver through these co-parenting, or I should say these parenting styles. I would love to know what parenting style you saw yourself in, or what combination of parenting styles you saw yourself in. And I guess until next time, because that is your action to find out what, I can't leave without giving you an action. But your action is definitely to find out what your parenting style is, and let me know what insights that you gained from finding that out. So, well, that's all I have for you today, and I definitely look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.